Welcome back, guys. I'm Matt Pettit. Today I'm going to be talking about how I used a non-traditional savings method that led me to making over $13,000 in just 2 days. Before we begin, just a reminder to smash that like button if you really enjoy this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want continued content that can help you build a more prosperous future. Okay, so I bet most of you are interested in how I made $13,000 over the course of 2 days. But first, we have to discuss what led me to this and how you can do similar things to position yourself for a similar gain. To start, I ditched my savings account altogether. Now, of course I had an emergency fund, and I recommend everybody have an emergency fund that can cover your expenses for up to 3 months. Now, why would I ditch my regular savings account? You see, over the past year, the Federal Reserve's interest rates have dropped from 2.5% down to a measly 1/4%. Now, this significantly impacts all banks and financial institutions' rates on loans, bonds, and even savings accounts. You see, the average financial institution's savings interest rates right now is between 0.5% and 1%. This is really bad when you consider that inflation rates over the past decade have been between 1.5% to 2% per year. That means that if you have money sitting in a regular savings account for a year, it's worth 1% less in the US market every year it sits. So while it may be a great time to invest in the real estate market due to the low mortgage rates, it's conversely a terrible time to have your money in a regular savings account. So, what I did was take any extra cash I had outside of my emergency fund and invest it in the stock market. Now, I did not day trade or become some expert at trading and timing the market daily. This leads us to my method of how I use my savings account to turn my hard-earned money working for me and not against me. See, I took my $7,500 savings at the time and applied it to the stock market through a brokerage account. The first thing I bought was ETF, index funds, and individual company stocks of mature companies that I knew were not volatile, like Walmart, Coca-Cola, etc. Now, I know you may be wondering what an ETF or index fund is. It's basically a company investment firm that has a group of stocks in one portfolio. You can buy into one share of that portfolio so you can diversify where your money's going. I consider this brokerage account my savings because I can take that money out of those stocks and sell at any time, and within a week or less, that brokerage will send the available cash and gains back to my bank account that I can use for any large purchases I needed or to invest in real estate. Any gains I have on those stocks will be taxed at the end of the year along with my income, and any losses I can write off up to $3,000 per year on my tax returns. So I'm sure everyone that's made it this far in the video is like, can you please get to the part already about you making $13,000 in 2 days? Yes. How did I do this? Well, while I had my money in those safer stocks, I was constantly looking for any opportunity to sell what I had and apply the available cash to any momentum or growth stocks that had hit a market trend. While I hesitated a few times on some stocks that I knew would perform quickly, which led to some lost gains, I finally did so last month when I rode oil and energy stocks for a big gain. In just over a month, I turned my $7,500 initial investment into over $25,000 at the time I sold them. Now, I'm no genius, and I didn't use any extensive analytical techniques to identify and make this great investment, which is why I think anybody can do this if they stay informed. For me, I knew that oil had reached a record low due to the global pandemic, which anybody could have seen at the gas pump. So I invested in a few of these stocks that I identified had the lowest bankruptcy risk. Now, I found that out through Google by Googling these specific stocks. Once again, no analytical techniques of a financial statement here. The next thing I did was I spread that money out over several of these to further limit the risk of one going bankruptcy and losing all my money. While there were a few ups and downs the first month, I eventually turned $7,500 into $13,500. Then, at the end of May, oil prices began to rise sharply, which in turn led to all the stocks I had held to nearly double in value. This led to a $13,000 gain in just 2 trading days. Now, I knew at the time that this could have been an irrational jump in the market, so I sold at that moment, knowing that it could potentially go back down the next day. While it was awesome that I was able to accomplish this, I recognize that this is not a typical result for investors in the market, especially for riskier, volatile investments. So this may not be for everyone. But what I know is for everyone, what I strongly believe in, is aside from your 401k and IRA investment contributions, any excess cash you have, you should set aside in a stock brokerage account, not a savings, and invest in those ETFs, those index funds, and any strong performing established companies in the market. You will see a much better return on your money, and when you pull it out, you'll feel better about the gains you receive. A quote I try to live by is, "A poor man spends first and invests later, but a rich man invests first and spends later." If this method of saving money intrigued you, click the link in the description below and you can receive 2 free stocks valued up to $1,200 when you invest $100 minimum. Also, you can receive another free stock from Robinhood without any initial deposit required. Both of these brokerage firms are what I use, and they have $0 trades and 0 monthly subscription fees. So they're best for any beginning trader or any beginning investor. That's all I have for this video. I hope I kept you engaged enough to understand why I feel like low risk stock investments are a much better savings method than just using a regular savings account. Please like and subscribe the video if you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more financial topics that I'll be discussing.